Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and this is the video where I review my predictions that I did for match day night in Serie A. There were a lot of exciting games and there were a lot of exciting results in Serie A as well. So we're going to see how many of my predictions came true and how many of them were completely off the mark. And we're going to see how many points I can accumulate. 3 points if the entire prediction is correct, 2 points if the entire prediction is correct, but the scoreline is not correct. I had a disastrous weekend last week. I got 6 points out of a possible 30. So I'm hoping that I can do better than that. I really should do better than that, because if I don't, it means it's going to be an even bigger disaster than last week. I have already made the prediction for a match day 10. It is going to start tonight, so if you want to go ahead and check them out, you can go and check that video as well. But let's start in this video. The first game, it was Udinese versus Cagliari, and I went for a 1-1 draw between both these teams. The thing is that Udinese, they are doing they have a very weird season. If I'm being very honest with you, they will play a couple of great games and then they will have a blip, and that makes you question them. Cagliari on the other hand, they are not really doing that good. They are struggling. They had a good performance last weekend, and that is why it tilted me towards giving them a draw in this game. But if I'm being very honest with you, Udinese completely dominated that game. Cagliari were never in that game, and at the moment they get that red card, it became even easier for Udinese to control and to score that goal. Cagliari could not do anything for them, and it became a very easy win for Udinese as they continue to climb upwards of the table. They are still in contention for those Champions League places, for those European places. They are really fighting it out. It is so tight at the top of the table. The top 7, top 8. It is very tight, and Udinese are one of those teams that are really fighting it out to get in those European places, and they would hope that it can continue. That is why I'm saying that they cannot really afford those results that they have. Like, they won today and they might win on match day 10 as well, and then they will go ahead and drop points on match day 11. So this is what Udinese really needs to stop if they really want to qualify for the Champions League. But this weekend they won. They are really happy. Cagliari, they lost, and it is now sort of starting to become a problem for Cagliari, and they would hope that a match day 10 brings out a good luck for them. The next game was Torino versus Como. I went for a 2-1 win for Torino. I thought it was going to be a very close game. It ended up being a very close game, and it ended up being a win for Torino as well. They won 1-0. So I just got 2 points. I did not get a single point from that first game, but I got 2 points from this game. As I said, it was a very close game as I expected it to be, and then both the teams created a good amount of chances, a really good chances. But the thing is, those chances were not really threatening. Like, most of them were half-hearted chances, and I really thought that this game was going to end up being a 0-0 with the way that it was going. And in the end, basically it was Como's mistake that Torino got lucky. A stupid back pass. I really don't know what the defender was thinking, heading it like that. And there's when you can see the player approaching, there's so much distance between you and the goalkeeper. They give give the ball away, and it was a gift, literally gift from Como to Torino. They scored the goal and they get that 3 important and huge points for Torino, and it is a big win for them. They've lost the last couple of weeks, and that is why they really needed to win this week, and it was huge for them that they won. Como, on the other hand, it is now it was a disaster for them. They will be really disappointed to not win this game, or to not get anything out of this game as well. I really don't think they deserve to lose. Apart from that mistake, I think both these teams were equal, but that mistake cost them. It's now 1 point from the last possible 9 points. So it's now that is the thing again with Como. They started bad, then they started having good results, but then last 3 or 4 weeks it has again started to go downhill. Fabregas needs to change something very quick, because they really don't want to get dragged down again into that relegation battle. The next game was Napoli versus Lecce. I went for a 5-0 win for Lecce. It ended up being a 1 for Napoli, sorry, and it ended up being a 1-0 win for Napoli. So I get another 2 points. I thought it was gonna be a very easy game. Lecce are struggling so much. Like they nothing is going right for Lecce, and I thought it was gonna continue. And Napoli have been really good. And I thought being at home, playing a side that is literally at the bottom of the table, it is going to be an easy walk in the park win for Napoli. But it was nothing something like that. It was a very tough game. Even though Napoli had the possession, they had a good amount of chances they created, but it was still not an easy game. They really had to dig deep. They really had to fight for tooth and nail to get those 3 points. They are lucky that they got that goal early on. Otherwise, it would have been a completely different story. A big credit to Lecce for playing that hard. They defended really well, and they themselves created the chance. It was like a really tough game. It was a physical game, and that is why a big thing that for Napoli is like they have a manager like Antonio Conte who's made his side. He's starting to make his side really tough to beat in all aspects of the game. They can play really good football, but if the things like you have games like this one when they need that physicality and if they need to be really a bit tough, they can go ahead and they can play dirty as well. I said that in my review as well that it is looking like a really a good team is forming at Napoli, and they with this win and with other results coming in, they now have a 4 points lead over Inter, and I think they would be really happy. Lecce on the other hand, they are bottom of the table. As I said before, nothing is really going for them. Whatever they are trying, it's not working, and they really need to find something else quickly. Otherwise, it is going to be a long hard season, and they might end up going down. The next game was supposed to be Milan versus Bologna, but it got postponed. So then we move on to Atalanta versus Verona, and I went for a 2-0 win for Atalanta. I thought it was going to be a very easy win for them. It was going to be a very simple win for them, and I think and that's what I thought. It ended up being a 6-1 win for Atalanta. So it's another 2 points for me. It was like a complete disaster for Verona. They got decimated by Atalanta. Like they conceded 5 goals in that first half alone, and they had no answer to Atalanta's performance. And Atalanta, to their credit, they were amazing in that game. There's now 4 wins in a row for them, and the way that they played it, they showed like their maturity levels in that game. First half they were really good. They scored that 5 goals, and then in the second half they just sat back. They just enjoyed. They really did not press hard. They make a lot of subs. They brought in new players, so to keep their squad fresh for the games because they know they are playing again tonight. Like the rest is very less for the teams this weekend. So that I think a really good game. They move up to 5th with this performance. Verona on the other hand, like it is now 4 losses in the last 5 games. They have dropped down to 15. They are just 3 places above the 18th place Genoa, and 3 points above that. That's the main thing. The 1 defeat and 1 win from the somebody in the bottom, and they could be dragged down into that relegation battle. It was a good start from Verona early on in the season, but now there are problems, and they really need to do something if they don't want to get stuck up in that relegation battle. Moving on to the next game, it was Parma versus Empoli. I went for a 2-2 draw in this game. It ended up being a 1-1 draw, so I get another 2 points. The thing is, Parma, I would say that have been really unlucky. They are playing really good. Their performances have been really good, but they're just not able to kill the game. It happened last weekend. It ended against Como, and it has happened this week as well. They completely dominated that game against Empoli. Empoli have not been in a good form. They played really good against Napoli last week, so I thought it was going to be a close game, but it was not a close game, if I'm being very honest with you. They got the goal somehow, but courtesy of an own goal, but Parma were really good. They created so many chances, and I think they would be really disappointed that they did not get those 3 points. It's another draw for them. Empoli, they are still 11th, but I would still say I'll be very honest, I don't think they deserve to get anything out of that game, because they were nowhere to be seen in that game. They really did not create anything. They really did not threaten Parma, who on the other hand, they created so many chances, and unfortunately for them, they were not really able to convert most of their chances, and that has been the story for them. 4 draws out of their last 5 games. That's why they are struggling at the moment. They are 17. They really don't deserve to be there, but if you don't finish your chances, you are gonna get caught out, and you are gonna pay the price for it, and they are paying the price for it. Being at 17th, they need to win the games. Otherwise, even though they don't deserve to go down, they might end up going down. Next game was Lazio versus Genoa. I went for a 2-0 win for Lazio. It ended up being a 3-0 win for Lazio, so it's another 2 points up for me. Like, it was one of the easiest predictions to make this season. Lazio have been really good this season. They are fighting for those European places. They're trying to get into those Champions League places. And Genoa, on the other hand, I mean, they have been all over the place. One of the worst performing team of the season. They are in that relegation places. They are the number 18 team in the league, and it showed in that game. Like, the difference was miles apart. They never really were in the game. Lazio quite comfortably went there, they did their job, they scored the 3 goals, and they came back and they got the 3 points. It never really felt like Lazio was threatened for a single moment in that game, and it was quite a convincing win, and they continued their surge towards the Champions League place. It is so tight in those Champions League. There are like 4 teams tied on 16 points, then you have one team in 15, then 17th, 18th, so it's so much tight from that. Even Napoli have now got a bit space with along the other teams. They are 4 points above Inter, but from that second to eighth and ninth, it is so close. The 1.2 point difference. So Lazio are right in there, and they would hope that they can stay in there as long as possible, so that they can try to get back into this Champions League. The next game was a big one. It was a Monza versus Venezia. Two teams really struggling at the bottom half of the table. Both teams really needing the points, and I went for a 2-1 win for the home side. Monza, I just thought that it with the way that they played last weekend, their performance was very good. I think they would have brought a lot of confidence in this game, and they were the home side as well. I thought it was going to be a very close game, and it was a very close game. And I just thought that being the home side, the fans might help and they might go ahead and edge it. But unfortunately for them, they were not really able to do that. It was a really good game of football. Both teams really went out with a positive attitude. A lot of times these teams, who are in the lower half of the table fighting for relegation, they don't really try to exploit, they don't really try to be adventurous, but this game was completely different. But for the first half, second half changed everything, but for the first half, both teams really went at it. We had 4 goals in that first half. Both the teams scored 2 goals. It was a really good first half. In the second half, especially after that 65th minute mark, I just thought that the managers decided that they really don't want to lose the game, and we started to see less creativity, less trying of trying to create chances. They just wanted to hold the ball. They wanted to make sure that they lose the ball. They are not the team that gets behind and has to try to score again. So I think they basically settled for a draw, which is quite it is a big shame, because it was looking like a good game, and I thought if both teams had really gone for it, we might have ended up with a winner. But both of them are really get a win. It doesn't really help either of them, because both of them are still in the lower half of the table. But I don't know what the thinking was, but that is it. Like, both of them are still in the lower half, and they still need to win the games. So I really did not understand that strategy. And then it was the big game of the weekend, the biggest game in Europe. If I'm being very honest with you, Arsenal and Liverpool were up there, but as a game, as a result, like, nothing was bigger than this. Inter versus Juventus, it ends up being a 4-4 draw between both of them. I went for a comprehensive 2-0 win for Inter. I thought they are a better side as compared to Juventus. They are at home, they are playing a good football, and Juventus are struggling, if I'm being very honest with you. And if I'm the thing is, if you look at this game, it showed that Juventus really need to catch up towards Inter. They got the lead, there is no deny. Inter get the lead, they make a comeback, and they make it a 2-1, but then Inter go ahead and they make it 2-2, they make it a 3-2, they make it 4-2, and how easy it was for Inter to play around. If not for Kenan Yıldız's cameo, I just don't see Juventus making a comeback. I've been very critical of Thiago Motta. I just and it showed again. They had majority of the possession, but the chances that they created were not really that good. Has been a big problem. They have a lot of possession, but they are not really able to create chances. And when they do create chances, they are not able to convert them. Kenan Yıldız, he comes in, he scores a brace in a 20-minute cameo, and that saves Juventus's blushes. Otherwise, they were going to lose that game. In the end, both these teams are drop points. It is huge for both of them that they both have lost points. I think Napoli would be really happy. They now have a 4-point gap against Inter. They now have a 5-point gap against Juventus. So they are the happiest of the 3 teams with this result. Both these teams, it was a really good game of football, but in the end, I think none of them would be happy with that result. And the last game was Fiorentina versus Roma, another big game. I went for a 2-all draw. I thought both these teams really like to play good football, like to play attacking football, and I thought it was going to be very quite an entertaining game. It was an entertaining game, but only for one side, because Fiorentina just absolutely thrashed Roma 5-1. It was such a good performance from Fiorentina. I mean, I've been so impressed. They started the season really slow, but the way that they have made a comeback, and they have really flown into the conversation about those Champions League places. They have won 4 four in a row. They and with that win, they have gone to the fourth place in the table. Like, they were so good in that game. Roma literally, they did not have anything they had no answer to Fiorentina's consistent questions, consistent attacks, and the game was basically done before halftime, and it was embarrassing for Roma, if I'm being very honest. Like, it felt like men against boys. It was so easy for Fiorentina to get past their defense. The way they moved the ball, the 1-2 passes, 1-2 touches, like, it was so easy for Fiorentina, and Roma did not have an answer. And as I said, four wins in a row for Fiorentina, and they move to the fourth at the table, and they are again, as I said, with the other teams, they are fighting for those Champions League places. Roma, it is starting to get go from bad to worse for them. They try to have a couple of weeks, and then it goes downhill from there. Their season has gone into disarray, if I'm being very honest with you. Good summer transfer window, a bad start. They sacked De Rossi. I think that was one of the most stupidest decision that you could have ever made. Why are you sacking him just after 4 days? 3 games, sorry. Why are you sacking him so early? It doesn't make sense. You have brought in Ivan Juric. Unfortunately for him, he is on the fans are already hitting. Like, you cannot sack a club legend after just 3 games without giving any explanation, and the thing is, they already told the fans that we are not gonna sack him, and they still go ahead and sack him, and then he comes in, and unfortunately for him, he's not able to turn things around. There is so much toxicity at the club at the moment, and I think he after what has happened to Ten Hag and what the results are doing for Roma, I don't think he might last longer at the club, because he's not able to do anything. They are not really winning in the Europa League. They're not winning in the Serie A as well. They have now dropped down to 11th. Like, they were one of the teams tipped to be in the Champions League, with De Rossi, with the way that he carried the team last year. So for him, it is being a big problem, and if he's given time, he really needs to do something very quick. He needs to do some magical stuff to get his team to win the games, because it is not happening for him at the moment. And with that, my review for match day 9 of Serie A of my prediction is completed. I did a total of 10 out of a possible 27 points. Is it better as compared to last weekend? I made 6 out of 30, so I think a 10 out of 27 is better, but it's still not good. But I would say that I got like almost five predictions are correct. That the scoreline was not correct. Apart from that, like, my predictions were correct. I corrected I predicted the correct result, so I'll be happy with that. If the scoreline is not there, that is another matter. But I think it was a good week for me, if I'm being very honest with you. Let me know what you guys thought of the weekend's fixture, what you guys thought of predictions, how your team did over the weekend, and what are your what are you waiting for match day 10. As I already said, I've already made the prediction video for match day 10, so if you want to go and check that out, you can go ahead and check that video as well, and you can comment your predictions in that video as well. Let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers. It's a big massive task, I know, but please go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.